Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the last video from my home here in DC. And today we're going to be doing Venus in the ninth house of your D9 Navamsa chart, as in what happens when Venus, Shukra, is in the ninth house of your D9 Navamsa, which is one of the most important charts in Vedic astrology, which kind of shows the second half of your life. Ow, that was loud. Which kind of shows the second half of your life. It shows the marriage, which shows the strength of your planets, the karma, the fortune that you are to receive in life. That's what Navamsa chart is. So it becomes one of the most important charts in Vedic astrology. And as always, if you do not know, if you have this particular chart, or this planetary placement, what sign it's in, and what is its placement in the birth chart, and all your astrological details, for that, check out the links here. Check out my full astrological report under the shop section, including my books, consultations, and link to my academy, Maga Vedic Astrology Academy, where I'm going to be almost done with the last video, so you can pretty much learn A through Z of astrology on this academy. So anyway, let's get started with our Venus in the ninth house of Navamsa chart video. And here I am in my basement studio for one last time before you guys get to see my new studio, which is going to be actually better than this, man. Oh my God. I've got plans. I got plans for this studio. You watch out, studio. I've got plans for you. All right. So yeah, you guys probably will see the video from the new studio. I'm hoping maybe by Saturday or Sunday, because it's gonna take a while to get everything going. So anyway, Venus in the ninth house of your D9. Now this is actually a quasi good placement in Navamsa. Why is it quasi? Because what I have seen is that when Venus rules the seventh house and sits in the ninth house of the Navamsa, marriage can occur quite late, literally in your late 30s. So that's one thing I have noticed, even where without any impact on Venus. Usually, I was reading this one article or book, it was 3 years ago by Kapiel Raaj, where he said, like, anytime you have a planet fifth lord in the seventh lord in the fifth or ninth, it can definitely delay a person's marriage or bring issues in marriage early on in life. But besides this particular point, which I actually noticed it myself, one thing I will tell you is that this particular Venus is actually a very lucky placement, because what happens is Navamsa is the ninth division. Okay, so ninth division represents what? The number 9, which represents what? The ninth house, which represents what? Bhagya and luck. And so here Venus can show that literally after marriage, once Bhagya Uday occurs, this is actually one yoga or technique you can use in your own analysis, is that whenever you see somebody who has this placement and they're married, and let's say Venus is not afflicted by malefics, you can just tell them, like, after marriage, your bhagya they occur. Everything happens because, like, for example, you see somebody get married, okay, in your family or your friends, and then you start noticing them on social media, like Facebook or something, or Instagram, and suddenly within like 3-4 months, you see them posting a picture of a nice luxury car. They were driving Toyota, but now they bought a BMW. You're like, okay, interesting. They must have got a promotion. Then literally 6 months later, you see them buying a new house and they're taking a picture in front of their new house, like, hey, we just moved into a new house like I do. So then you're like, what's happening with this person? And then you see their pictures on all over the vacation spots. Like, did they hit a lottery or something? Well, could be, but most likely their bhagya uday occurred with Venus. See, marriage, as much as people dread it, as much as you see 50-60% divorces now, the thing is, when a marriage is meant to give you something, it's going to give you something. And this is why you're getting married. This is actually the reason why you're getting married. Because you are to suffer that karma with that person. You are supposed to lose all your money in divorce with that person. You are supposed to suffer mentally with that person. But on the other hand, you can literally win a lottery. You were making 50,000, 60,000 before that, and as soon as you get married, now you're making 700,000 a year. That's the Bhagya Uday. And here Venus brings great love for literature. Like literally in your second half of life, or even, after marriage, you will be very much inclined towards learning classical knowledge, classical literature. Because with Jupiter and Venus, especially in according to Jaimani, fifth and ninth house becomes one of those houses for a love for literature. Suddenly you will have great love. And see, here's the thing, devotion towards divinity, devotion towards a guru, devotion towards your higher authority. Higher authority doesn't mean like some bosses or government. It's higher authority that gives you wisdom. So if let's say your boss is that person that is very spiritual and gives you these wisdoms and their stories of meeting yogis and priests and whatnot, well, that's going to work the same way. Venus here also shows your spouse, especially within the marriage, will love traveling, will make you travel. But one thing we see with this particular Venus is that your relationships with your spouse's family either can be lost, or you may have to give money to your spouse's family. You may have to give money to your spouse's family, which you may not like. For example, you're trying to buy a house, and suddenly your sister-in-law calls, your mother-in-law calls, like your spouse, that listen, we're in a big financial thing, we need $20,000, please help us. And you can't just say no. I mean, it's your spouse's family, it's literally your family as well, karmically, not just legally, karmically. That is to be your family as well. And so you have to spend money on that. And this is where one of the negativity comes in, depending upon how your mindset is. Definitely always have money saved aside with this Venus, because you may have to give that. It's part of your karma that you're going to have to pay. Also with this particular Venus, sexual life can take a backseat. Sexual life may take a backseat to the love for travel and wisdom and wanting to attain higher knowledge. Whether it could be you, whether it could be your spouse, there would be a bit of this negligence towards the physical sexual chemistry, which is very much needed. Okay? And then, one thing we see here is that obviously wealth increases, savings comes in, but you become very oblivion to your own family. Like the situations of the family are like, oh, what's going on? Like with your brother or sister, oh, they're suffering, okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. And you won't really have either a negative or positive reaction. You're just like, okay, well, you'll just be like, I don't know what to do. Let me just go back to my work. So there are these little idiosyncrasies that you will deal with. But definitely, it doesn't mean you're not going to love your family. You will definitely be devoted to your family. You will be devoted to your, parents. But it's just a very oblivious state. The other thing we see is that love, especially for a female, love for luxury becomes very important. Like comfort, not even luxury, comfort. Like you don't want to go from, let's say, India to Dubai or India to UK in some economy flight when the flight is so long, you have 2 stops. You're like, listen, let's just wait until we can get a first class ticket. Then let's go. So you got to understand, it's not a bad thing. If it's not strongly being demanded, because a person simply wants to travel in comfort due to Venus being in the 9th house. Okay. The other thing we also noticed, one gets emotionally connected with their home. Like especially with this particular Venus, there's like a tit for tat type of thing. It's like back and forth. Like when you're traveling, you're missing your home. When you're home, you're missing your traveling. And most definitely you will have a luxurious home. Even if you have like a 1-bedroom shack, let's say you have this basement style size home as a newly married, you're going to make sure when somebody walks in, they're like, my God, I love what you have done with the place. So these are the things that we notice with Venus in the ninth house in Navamsa chart. But like I said, I mean, I can give you a truckload of information if I just knew the aspects and the nakshatra in the Navamsa, okay, which is very important. Navamsa nakshatra, extremely important. And I've said this over and over again. But those things will give a lot more story, and we'll get into that. Okay. So anyway, guys, goodbye from KRS Studio number 2 and on to KRS Studio number 3. All right. So anyway, if you're new to my channel, subscribe below so you don't miss these videos. And if you need to know where your Navamsa placements is, all the other astrological details, check out the links here. Otherwise, we'll see you probably, hopefully, on Tuesday, Wednesday from a hotel room. Bye-bye.